Welcome, podcast listeners. You are here with your host. This is Budget Pedal Chap. Welcome today. We've got you are joined by Matt Quine. You are joined by Paul Mason.
Hello.
And you are joined by our newest member, another Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
It's a running gag. So, Paul, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what kind of guitar stuff you're doing.
So I'm Paul. I've been a member of the guitar group for probably about a year, just over a year. I think Sai was the one who invited me. Like everyone, probably a refugee from the other group that we don't or won't name here.
We dare not speak its name.
We dare not, the Voldemort group. I have been playing guitar on and off since I was about 15, when I got my Encore starter pack with the 10-watt amp from Argos for my Christmas.
Classic.
Which was a auspicious start to not much of a career. So really just playing recreationally rather than anything else. Played in a couple of bands, mostly just for rehearsals and just a bit of a jam. Still consider myself pretty much just above a beginner, I guess, in terms of guitar play. I kind of like owning them more than I usually tend to pick them up and play them, just because I think they're quite nice to look at.
That they are.
Yeah, but so probably a little less experience in terms of live playing or band dynamics than some of the other people in the group. But definitely got an interest. Definitely like to geek out, watch some videos, watch Andrew's videos in particular on YouTube. So yeah, just love all things guitars, pedals, and amps. Just a bit shy of ability, I guess, is the thing.
As long as you got the enthusiasm, that's all that matters, really.
Definitely.
And we do welcome an avid collector on here. So tell us about your gear then, Paul.
So you might be able to see the ironing board in the background. That thing's got tone for days, I tell you. I've got my a token Yamaha acoustic in the background here. I think it's a
nice.
GTX 500. I got that a good few years ago now. And I actually played a kind of small acoustic gig at our street party, a couple of weeks back. And that's the first time I played that for any amount of time, and it's actually kind of got me into the habit of picking up and playing it again, which has been quite fun. I've got a USA standard Strat, which I got for probably about half the price it was when it was new,
nice.
A couple of months back, brand new, because they moved on to the wildly expensive Elite series, which I had no interest in. I've got a 2013 Les Paul Standard, so obviously not at the heyday of the Les Pauls, but because I'm quite a small chap, its weight relief is actually a good thing for me, because I am quite short and small of frame, so I quite like it. Although I do play the least out of all of them, which is better. I've got a Mexican Tele from 2008. I've got a J Mascis Jazzmaster, which we were speaking about yesterday in the group.
Yeah.
I think that's 3 people now who've got one of these.
They are quite popular these days, aren't they? The J Mascis.
Yeah, I think I'm like Andrew. I got mine second hand off of somebody for about less than £300 anyway, so it's quite a good deal.
Yeah, bang for your buck.
And as of Saturday, I am the owner of, I know this doesn't work in an audio podcast, but got my Sterling Music Man AX40, which I've not really put down all this week actually since I bought it.
Yeah, so for those that can't see it and don't really know the Music Man, it's kind of somewhere between a Les Paul and a Tele, but with added Floyd Rose.
Yeah, so it's
the Wolfgang or the Axis or whatever you want to call it.
No, it was actually just called the EVH before it was the days before Eddie went over to Peavey and designed the Wolfgang.
Yeah.
It was actually just called the Music Man EVH.
Yeah, right.
When he left, they renamed it the Axis.
Yeah. But it's that style, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how are you finding the lock-in trem system?
Well, I got a fret polishing kit by recommendation of Chris from Amazon, so I took that to it last night when it finally arrived. So there's quite a lot of gunk came off it, and I restrung my first Floyd style double locking trem system yesterday, which is actually okay because it's not recessed. You don't really have to worry about the float element of it, so that's quite handy. But I'm liking the ability to have the locking nut and not have to worry about tuning room. Which has been quite handy. I'm actually a big fan of it because it's obviously short. Well, it's not a shorter scale. It is the scale length is still the same, but obviously it's just a bit more compact. And I find it fitting really well, and I quite like the asymmetric neck, very comfortable to play. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I've been playing that pretty much since I got it on Saturday, so it's kind of rekindled a bit of interest in actually playing the guitar rather than just having them looking at me. So.
Yeah. It's a bit of a trial by fire as well. The old Floyd Rose style trem system. Every guitarist has got to restring one at some point in their life.
No. Don't want to. Really don't want to try. I hate restringing enough as it is.
Yeah, well, I actually did it in the living room yesterday with my girlfriend. She put a program on telly, and then it finished, and I'd finished stringing it. I thought it was a half-hour program, and she kindly informed me that it'd been an hour. So, so I thought it would, but we got through it in the end.
It does get quicker.
It does, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, marginally, yeah.
No, I don't know. I've got to do that 20 minutes.
Blindfolded.
That's it. He's one of these guys who can strip down an AK-47 blindfolded and underwater.
Ooh, wait.
So we're gonna move on. What we've been up to this week, then, lads. Paul, you've told us about your recent Sterling purchase. Matt, what have you been up to this week?
To be honest with you, I was supposed to have a gig today. We turned up to the venue just to be told that the function that we were supposed to be playing was actually on the Saturday night, not the Friday night. Available. So we got in contact with the person who booked it through, who was like, oops. So we turned up to a venue that was empty. Couldn't do the night that the actual event was on, so it then just was trying to help out the people whose event it was to try and find a band for the Saturday night. I think they ended up with an acoustic 3-piece as opposed to an electric 5-piece like we are. But it was all that we could find at sort of 1 day's notice.
I mean, I
haven't actually had much chance to play.
That's awfully kind of you, anyway. Supplying an act for a gig that you can't do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was somebody's 50th birthday party, I think, and like we're not in the business just for playing. It's like we're not going to leave somebody high and dry when a mistake's been made, and we know other bands. So our singers in a 3-piece acoustic act, and we asked around for a few other bands as well, but they managed to cover it off. So at least they got some sort of entertainment.
I mean, that's wicked. That is the proper spirit of it all, isn't it?
Yeah, so, but other than that, I think I've picked up my acoustic a few times, but I don't think I've plugged an electric in this week.
Yeah. And yourself, Paul, too?
Honestly, other than being in and out of hospital because I picked up an infection, I've not really been doing anything guitar-wise this week.
Oh, man.
Although I did have some switches that might find their way onto one of the guitars very shortly.
Oh dear! Just leave them alone, Paul. Just leave them alone.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Right.
You'll see multiple posts saying, "Help!"
Yeah.
What have I done?
Oh, I've fucked it again. Yeah. For our listeners, it's somewhat of a running theme. Oh, we've lost Matt.
Oh.
He'll come back. He'll come back. He always does.
He always does. It's like a bad penny.
So what I've been up to this week? Again, I'm gonna be a grumpy arse this week.
My job.
I know, yeah. I'm taking over resident grump. I've got a little a kind of knockabout board that I use for band practices, and it's nothing expensive and nothing special, but it sounds really good. And recently I added a tuner pedal to it because hey, we all need to be in tune sometimes. And then I noticed some odd noises kind of lingering in the background. So I spent a good part of today troubleshooting it. And lo and behold, it was the tuning pedal that I'd supplied onto the board. Was making an odd kind of, it was almost kind of snowstorm sound. That pedal was a Boss pedal. So no matter how much I try, Boss pedals just keep letting me down. So I did a little experiment today as well, because I wanted to see if I could use the pedal independently and kind of just have it on my board, but plug in, like unplug the cable from the main loop and unplug into the tuner pedal as and when I needed it, because it was only for practice anyway. It turns out that the pedal makes the noise when it's plugged into the power. It doesn't have to necessarily be going through my effects chain. So it annoyed me greatly. So yeah, Boss pedals not doing it for me. We've got Matt back. Woo!
Hello. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on.
Just as a recap, Matt, I was just saying how terrible Boss pedals are. So we're steering the natural course. On a slightly more upbeat note, I received a DIY guitar pedal kit last week at some point, and I finally got some time to get around to doing it. And I've put it all together and it works. So, woo! I feel like I'm an electronic genius now.
Yeah, I saw the video for that. Is that just a boost or is it?
Yes, it was a very, very simple boost. Don't try and diminish my my accomplishments here.
I didn't know what it was going to end up as. It just I heard it get louder, so I figured it was a boost then.
It was supposed to be some kind of metal zone, but it turned into it came out as a boost, so it still worked. No, it was something like
How did you find working with a Vera board?
Oh dear, this is where I become a grump again. I did electronics when I was in school, and generally I found no problems with it. I found soldering pretty straightforward. Turns out when you hit 30, your eyesight tends to deteriorate somewhat. So like all of these tiny little components with their tiny little writing on, found that difficult. And even though it was only about 8 components on this boost pedal, it took me somewhere in the region of about 2 hours. So I don't think I'm going to be setting up production as of yet for the budget pedals. So yeah, but yeah, I had fun doing it, and it works. So all is good. Right, so
we're not going to see budget chaps pedals anytime.
Yeah, the budget chap pedals. Yeah, it'd be. Yeah, definitely not a budget as well. 2 hours doing it. I'm not selling them for that cheap. It's given me a newfound respect for these companies, especially the ones who managed to cram it all into those micro pedal enclosures. My God, that's some kind of wizardry, that is.
Do you think maybe a machine does it rather than a person?
No, I reckon it's very tiny children's hands, isn't it?
That's for the
That's
cheap
what I-
ones.
Yeah, they're cheaper to buy than machines, aren't they? Anyway, we're gonna move on to our news because me being grumpy and old is going to be a constant. So it's not new. So we're gonna have a look at a new release this week. It was kind of released towards the start of the week. It's the Electro Harmonix Slammy Plus. When I first read it, I thought it said salami. Thought that's an odd name for a pedal. But no, the Slammy Plus. So, do any of you guys know anything about this pedal at all?
I know that it's basically a whammy. I don't want to say knockoffs or say
Inspired.
competition for a whammy. It's
Yeah.
competition for a whammy.
Yeah, so I've got some of the specs here. So it does a 3-octave span, which I think, as far as I remember, the whammy is 2.
Whammy two, or certainly the whammy I've got is 2.
Yeah, so 3 octaves. I'm assuming that's 3 octaves down, or maybe 2 down and 1 up. I don't know. The spec sheet wasn't very clear on that. It's fully polyphonic, so your chords ain't going to be a problem. It's got 11 modes, so you've got detune, which is a kind of chorus mode. Then you've got various intervals, so minor second, major second, minor third, major third, fourth, fifth, major sixth, and then you've got octave 1, 2, and 3. But what also is good about this pedal is it's got a dual pitch mode, which, if you've seen the product video, allows you to do two pitches for the one rock of your rocker. So on the video, it did one going down an octave and the other one going up like a major 6 or something like that. And it sounded pretty damn good. So what are our thoughts on this Salami Plus?
I mean, I watched the video. I'm not very well versed in harmonizing or whammy pedals. I don't have one.
Yeah.
But it sounded great. It made some interesting noises, and that's enough to get me hooked. That's really all it takes for a pedal. If I can do something interesting with it, then definitely I'm interested in it. So yeah, I thought it sounded great actually.
Yeah, I've got to give my applause to the guys at EHX. Their product demos are always pretty good.
Mm.
They get guys in who really get in tune with the pedals. So Matt, you said that you've got a whammy pedal yourself.
I do. I've got a whammy V5, I think. I can't remember, to be honest with you. It's a pedal I bought because I thought, oh, it's great. I'll do some weird and wonderful Matt Bellamy style sweeping through it as I'm doing some stupid lead playing. I've plugged it in maybe 5 times because I just can't find a use for it. I'm not good enough at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To warrant having one. If this was about when I was buying, I'd have probably picked this over the whammy. It just seems like it has slightly more features.
Yeah.
It's certainly not something that I'll probably end up with just because I haven't used the whammy, so I don't think there's any point in buying this.
Yeah. So you're saying that it's not enough to make you retry the whole whammy experience.
No, it's not enough to sort of bring me back to it and maybe try it again. I don't think so.
I think if I remember rightly, on the pedal demo, they used the pedal to kind of simulate a lap steel, which I thought was really interesting.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think you're right actually.
But they did a couple of cool things with it, and to be honest, it tracked really well, and this polyphonic nature of it sounds really cool as well. I think I've got the same kind of bugbears with it as we mentioned with the TC harmonizer pedal the other week, which I do realise that I keep calling the quintessence, but others are calling it quintessence.
I've heard quintessence more than quintessence.
Well, I assume it derived from the word quintessential, which would make it quintessence. But hey ho, we're not a lexicographer.
I think it's tomato, really.
Yeah, yeah. I'll leave it to Susie Dent to correct me. I'll give her the final word on it.
Is tomato the next EHX pedal? Because it very well might be the way they're pumping them out at this point in time.
That's it. Yeah, you got the salami. Next week will be the tomato or tomato. But yeah, I think generally speaking, as far as pitch bendy pedals go, this one seems like a pretty stand-up one. So
Yep,
let's give
I'd
it a
agree.
whip around. What are we saying? Are we giving it a yay or are we giving it an A? Start with Matt because you've already got a thingy.
I won't be getting one, but I won't be getting one, but I'll still give it a yay because I think it seems like it's going to be a better product than what's out there at the moment.
Yeah, cool. Paul.
Which one?
That was the point.
We did that on purpose.
Paul 1.
I would have one. I would have most pedals. It's just when I actually get around to taking my wallet out of my pocket and actually buying one, that's where the problem falls in. But yeah, just for something interesting, make some cool noises, I would definitely have one.
Yep, and Paul 2.
I'd have one as well. I used to have a Digitech Whammy V1, and that was the best of them that was available at the time. And this actually, it seems to track a little bit better than the V1. So yeah, I'd give it a crack. And plus, I prefer it to the normal Slammy because the normal Slammy is the cradleless one, and I don't like the idea of chasing them around the stage.
I thought we'd get away with not even mentioning that existed, but because I think EHX are hoping that happens as well.
Yeah, this is to wipe away some bad memories of it. You know how much it's going to be? How much it's...
I haven't got a price on it, unfortunately.
It's about, well, depending where you go, it's between 80 and 110.
That's a really decent price. That is a really decent price. I'm going to give it a yay as well. I find it difficult to buy into the pitch shifting pedals, but if I were going to get one, it probably would be the Salami. So all around yays from us. Keeping along on the EHX vibe for the moment. There have been a couple of pedals that fall under this new. It's like a reinforced polymer housing, so it's basically like a plastic wah pedal case. Not so long back, but not quite recently, they released a volume pedal, which is in this same case. The thing that really got me about this volume pedal is it's passive, so it requires no power.
Oh.
So you could have it on a pedal board without it taking up any of your 9 volts. And it's got a switchable impedance, so you can have it 25k or 250k. Which I don't know what that'll do. I assume probably brightness or maybe something to do with pedals that work better with low or high impedance. So like a for wah fuzz pedals. Sorry. So yeah, I thought that was
Before I
really
knew
cool.
those facts, before I knew those interesting facts, the thing that interested me was the price, because it's about maybe £45, £50.
Oh really?
Which is a very decent price to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, I mean, volume pedals are notoriously not cheap.
Mm.
Very kind of prevalent in the American guitar scene with the praise and worship thing. They love the volume swells. Not so much over here in the UK, but for that price, you might see them. And finally, they've done quite a few with these plastic cases. I know they've done a couple of wah pedals. They've done the Cockfight Plus. I think we're being baited with that title, to be honest. They want us to giggle at that.
It's the stupidest. It's the stupidest thing in the world, though, because it's a cocked wah in a wah housing. So is that not just back to being a wah again?
I remember a
maybe.
discussion with
But
Man,
does-
are the wah sounds not static? It's the because it's got an integral fuzz, and that's what the expression pedal actually changes.
I thought
So
it
it's
was
not
a
actually
case
controlling
that
the wah at all.
I think that's right. Anyway,
we're gonna have to do some research on this one. I was under the impression that you could set the range for the wah. So
either way, I'd just rather get a wah pedal.
yeah, I mean they did release that as well, the Whaler wah, again in this plastic housing. And it comes in
I'd
quite
be
cheap.
getting that before I got the Cockfight.
Indeed. I mean, just the fact that it's called a Cockfight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Just on the
That's George
website.
Holiday.
Go on, Matt.
Just on the website for EHX, and you can turn the fuzz off and control the wah with the. So you can control the wah, or you can turn the fuzz on and control the amount of fuzz with it.
Oh, brilliant. So it's quite a versatile pedal.
Yeah.
But they've
They've
Well,
still,
this one
got
I
a title that means it's in Joey's domain and nobody else's.
but just talking along the lines of these EHX polymer housed pedals, they've bought a dual expression pedal as well.
Yes.
Which has switchable reverse function on both expressions, and it has got it allows you to set the range as well. And they're not coming in at an expensive price either. I dare say
EHX seems to be really good on price no matter what they bring out.
yeah. I dare say it's the plastic casing which is bringing down the price no end.
Yeah, but even the standards like the original cradleless ones, they were made out of metal, and they use quite a high quality electronic trigger.
Yeah.
To, like we said about the Whaler Wah, it uses quite a high quality trigger to track the motion of the pedal without it actually having a cradle on it, and you can use it on solid wood, you can use it on carpet.
Yeah.
You know, and it is, much as I say I don't like the idea of chasing it around the stage, for what it is, it's actually a cracking pedal, and it only costs about £100.
Yeah, it's a great bit of engineering.
You know, so for that level of technology, getting it for £100 is actually pretty. It's well in the ballpark of your average wah pedal.
Yeah. So I think EHX are really kind of consumer focused in terms of their pricing, and yeah, I mean they're a company that I like to get behind. We're gonna move it on to slightly more negative news now. So a big, a rather large company that we all know and love and never take the piss out of on a weekly basis. They're
Welcome to the Gibson segment.
Indeed, yeah. It's our weekly Gibson flogging. So we're going to have a talk about kind of the end of last week. Mastodon's guitarist, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, Bill Kelleher.
Kelleher.
Bill Kelleher.
Kelleher. I did well enough. So he's left Gibson for ESP recently, but he's not done it quietly. Anyone want to tell us about that news story that's been floating about?
Well, he wasn't exactly happy with the treatment that he got from Gibson, was he? It was that nobody really seemed to care about him and his requirements.
Yeah.
And the other thing was that they were releasing the Bill Kelleher model Gibsons. Now, bearing in mind he uses drop tunings almost exclusively.
Yeah.
They were sending them out with standard gauge strings on, tuned to standard. So obviously they were intonated for standard as well. So when people tried to go into Bill Kelleher's tuning, they wouldn't stay in tune. They had the wrong gauge strings, so they sounded crap. Fans were actually getting in touch with Bill himself and saying, "Look, these guitars we're getting from Gibson are just not cutting it."
Yeah.
Bill fought against Gibson for a while about that to try and get them to change it, and they just wouldn't. But he was also a bit concerned about the turnover of A&R guys.
Yeah.
He was saying you just about get to know one of them, and suddenly they were gone. And it's people who really knew the job, people who really wanted to do well at the job, and they were out to prove themselves, and yet Gibson would just turn around and go, "No, you're not what we want, thank you."
Yeah.
And you'd end up with some absolute plank in the job instead.
Yeah, there was.
So he really wasn't happy about Gibson.
Yeah,
he was really.
There were a lot of complaints, weren't there? There was another one that with his second signature model, he expressly asked that it was a full weighted body, and then they released it as a chambered body, even though he'd expressly asked that not be the case. So, we're only getting because it was from an interview with Ultimate Guitar. So we're only getting the one side of the story.
Well, that's probably because Gibson don't bother to respond to any requests for their side on it.
Yeah.
Which is the same. We're going to cover some other news, but it's exactly the same there. Gibson have just refused to say anything about it, despite the fact that it's widely covered in the media.
Yeah. So losing such a high-profile figure as Bill, but then also if you look to kind of even further than that, James Hetfield did a very similar move himself. He moved away from Gibson to ESP. And what?
Yeah, but at that time you could just say that was down to what he was offered through ESP, because at the time, you're talking the early 80s when that happened. So at the time, Gibson was actually in a pretty good place.
I was under the impression that it was much more recent than that, because I remember Gibson having the Les Paul Cross, the one with the
I remember.
Yeah, and I'm
sure
that was
Cross.
The Iron Cross. That's the one, and I'm sure that was a Gibson model.
I think
I thought it was
with
ESP.
Both. He was with both for a while, if that was a Gibson model, because every one of the 30th anniversary for their album, so since, what was it, 2014, they did the Kill 'Em All signature. They
were all ESPs, weren't they?
Signature as well. They were all ESP, and he had signature ESP. I don't know what they call the shape of the Explorer.
The snake
had a
bite,
signature
that one.
ESP shape.
But yeah,
he's had a signature one of those since Death Magnetic was out, so that's what, 2008.
Yeah, we're talking.
Well, I think
we're talking like probably 15 years, but I'm sure within my lifetime it's been the case where he's been signed to Gibson.
I don't think he ever left ESP. From what I can remember, him and Kirk actually signed up to ESP at the same time.
Oh, did they? And I know Kirk had ESPs going through. I think the Black Album. He was seen with he had a few models. He had like a Les Paul model and a.
Yeah, he was using the Eclipse. He was. He's got the Nosferatu. He's got the Mummy.
Yeah.
He's got the new Ouija board.
Oh dear God, yeah. But kind of swinging it back onto our original point that Gibson's.
Let's do that.
Not yeah. We've got a fair bit to get through today, so probably was.
The Bill Kelleher thing. I mean, it's obviously there's a desire for those instruments because he's gone over and he's got an ESP Les Paul and an RD, or essentially an RD with ESP.
Yeah.
But it's the element of the artist relations which appears to have just completely crumbled.
Yeah.
And then it was. Sorry.
Yeah. Just with fairness to both sides, it was at a point where there was a contract renewal, and Gibson decided to not renew the contract. So it's not like anyone was fired for anything or that Bill stormed out, but they essentially parted ways. However, the words that Bill has said since then has painted a very grim picture for Gibson, and that brings us on to our kind of breaking news for Gibson of this week. So it was released today that they're selling their Memphis factory, and the Memphis factory, of course, is it sees some electric guitars being made, but there's a big portion of the semi-hollow Gibsons that are made there. And from yet another Paul of ours, he's been telling us that the Memphis factory is one of the most consistent in quality amongst Gibson. And them losing that could spell some disaster for Gibson's quality overall.
I mean, you'd hope that. I mean, it is obviously. I think the reason cited was going to smaller premises.
Yeah,
and you'd hope that expertise and the manufacturing practices would follow. But I think it's a bit reflective of the company as a whole going through a bit of a difficult time, I think, just now.
Yeah, it was only a couple of weeks ago that there was mention that Gibson were in some sizable debt, and I think along with this article, it says
as of August it was 512 mil.
I got approaching 520 on this article that I read about.
It probably is more like that now.
Yeah, and they're selling the Memphis factory for something like 17 mil.
Yeah.
So
I was actually like we mentioned about reappraising them recently.
Yeah.
And I was actually reading something about that. Now, it's like Mark, you said you thought Moody's only dealt with sort of countries' financial viabilities and what have you, but it's not that. It's any sort of global corporation as well.
Right.
Now, when you look at other companies like Fender, even who is it? What's the American place? Guitar Center.
Yeah.
They've got sort of global concerns, and they have stayed in the sort of Fender's gone up from B1 to B2, which is a 4-point improvement. Guitar Center has gone down from B2 to B1, but they're all still in a pretty decent place.
Yeah.
Gibson has gone to CAA1, which basically means if they don't pull the socks up by August 2018, they're going into receivership.
That's never
They've
a
got
good
to
sign,
try
is
and
it?
pull back. No, I mean, if you take into account the 17 million that they're asking for the Memphis premises,
Yeah.
But then again, they've got to buy a new premises as well, so you don't know what they're going to be paying for that. So let's just round it off to 500 million. Where the hell are they going to get 500 million in 12 months?
They'll have to sell themselves. They'll have to find somebody who's interested in buying the company and bringing them back to former glories. And it's not going to be, your average man off the street. You're going to have to get a lot of investment from somebody who's got a lot of money to throw at it.
Oh yeah,
That's the only way they'll do it.
yeah.
Do you reckon that's why they're keeping Slash sweet at the moment?
God, nobody started on that, honestly.
Thinking he'll buy him out. I mean, we did actually have a bit of a convo about this not so long ago about who we thought might be good for buying them out. Now, I'm hoping it's going to be somebody that's well into the guitar community already.
Yeah.
I think somebody mentioned Marshall might be a good shout.
Surely Marshall
Bloody
going to
hell.
have
I think there's
find them up.
That'd be two sinking ships steering each other, wouldn't it? There.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, who's really got the collateral for it? I mean, you've got Fender; they could do it.
I don't think they'd be allowed to.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's monopoly. I think.
I don't know if they wouldn't be allowed to. I think anybody would want to buy a Gibson if Fender took over.
I also don't think that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd quite
think
like a Gibson Stratocaster.
I think they got a Gibson PRS recently, didn't they? Those new ones.
I think if you're
The
reasonable
old double
about
cup.
it doesn't really matter who takes over as long as they keep the practices and styling that we used to associating with Gibson. I mean, I made a throwaway comment that even Ibanez would be good for it, purely based on the fact that, all right, I know they couldn't afford to do it, but they would have the quality control and the working practices to build some absolute. I mean, they make some absolutely fantastic hollow bodies that nobody really considers with Ibanez unless you're in the jazz world.
I think in terms of,
but they hands down compete with Gibson.
Yeah, their quality control overall. I mean, I've picked up Ibanez guitars that have been extremely budget friendly, and even they have played well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they sound the best, and I mean, often what I'll say about Ibanez is that as long as you don't want it to sound the greatest out of the box, you're fine. Because their pickups tend to be pretty weak. But if you can afford a pickup upgrade and some decent electronics, a good proportion of those budget Ibanez guitars are fantastic. And then once you get past a certain price point, they start putting branded names in anyway.
Yeah, DiMarzio usually.
Yeah, well, they've got DiMarzio, they've got Seymour, EMGs as well.
I think my thoughts on this might be a bit long-winded, but thoughts on the Gibson thing. So you look at Fender. You've got Fender, and they've got in terms of their American line, they've got quite a small range. So you've got your elites and the professionals for Fender, and they've got a decent portfolio of other businesses. You've got Charvel Jackson, who each to their own produce some pretty decent instruments, and that fit a market. You've got, but then on the other side, and obviously Fender have other like PAs and all this kind of stuff. On the other side of things, you've got Gibson, who they've got Epiphone, Kramer, and just not, I think, maybe Epiphone, but in and of itself, the Gibson range is enormous. Like the American range is huge. And all these, like even with like the 2018, 2017, 2016 announcement, you've got your standard plus or whatever the hell they're called. And then, they're traditional and they're not so traditional. And then you're kind of a studio and a studio. It's too much. There's too much and too expensive. I mean, who gives a rat's arse about all those colour options anyway? It's like you need to just concentrate on certain core things. Like, say, the Memphis stuff, that's great quality. It is expensive, but I think you get more for your money quality-wise with a Memphis than you do like a USA kind of, like a Les Paul standard or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it just needs to be focused. It's very wide. And then, what was it? A few months back, they brought out that $6,000 guitar with a shit drive circuit in it that didn't sound particularly great at all. It's like, who's crying out for that? I mean, no one's crying out for that, I don't think. Unless it's Slash, unless he asked for it, which he might have done. I don't know.
I played a fifth on that.
I think you've touched on a great point there, though. To be honest, because if you compare Gibson and Fender side by side, Gibson kind of start their range starts at the upper end, the kind of £700, £800, £900. That's where they start, and then it only gets higher than that. Whereas Fender, I mean, they've got a huge range within that kind of 500 to £1,000 range. And then they've got, like you say, they've got the American stuff, and then the vintage pro or whatever it's called. So they've got it going up, and then they've got on top of that the custom shops as well. So they've got the entire price range kind of catered for.
Yeah.
If you look at the subsidiary companies that each of them own as well, like Paul was saying, I mean, Charvel Jackson, Gretsch. So they've pretty much got all corners of the market covered with pretty popular big names. Gibson, on the other hand, they own Kramer and a bunch of other companies that nobody really buys into anymore.
No, Kramer.
It's names that were big in the 80s or 90s, and nobody bothers with them now.
But I've got to defend them in the fact that Epiphone as a brand seemed to be absolutely killing it recently.
So that's
by I say recently, I mean like kind of past decades, if not a little bit longer than that. Their quality is pretty much consistent. They've got the corners of the market sorted. I mean, they go down to like £99 for it's
but it's an ugly ass £99 one.
but they cater for it. They cater for the £99 kind of range, all the way up to kind of a couple of grand for some of the master built Epiphones.
The scary thing is if you look at it, Epiphone really is the company that Gibson should be.
Yeah, to be honest.
That's what's scary about it, though.
I think you're right, though, because, like, say the Fender stuff, like the last year and a half, 2 years, they've had the offset stuff that's completely taken off. They're cheap, interesting guitars. That's what Epiphone are doing, but that's probably feeding a dying giant of Gibson USA, as it were, just pumping out needlessly year-on-year updates to a standard and a traditional model that don't need to be there. Costing money to produce and nobody's buying. But
yeah, and the stuff that they are bringing out that's kind of new and weird in the new double cut, the modern double cut, is it's unattainable. It's like $4,000.
Yeah, that's a starting point as well.
Yeah.
I think we're going to leave it there for Gibson today because I mean we could chat about it for an hour at least just on this, but we've got.
Should we do a Gibson special one day?
Yeah, I think we probably have to. It'll probably be in a year's time, Death of Gibson or Gibson in memoriam.
Well,
so
yeah. Well, like I say, Moody's has set the deadline for August, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to a company who are kind of fly under the radar. Carvin Audio, which is basically their amplifier range. They have closed down. So since about the 80s, they're kind of most known for the Legacy series amps that Steve Vai uses.
Yeah.
and to be honest, not much else. So it's not really a surprise, but what has come as a surprise almost is Carvin also had the guitar. It's almost like a custom shop, and it's unsure what's going to be happening with that.
The Carvin guitars has already gone.
Yeah, well, it moved over, didn't it? It moved over to a different brand name.
Yeah, once they got Jim and his son Jeff Keisel designing their guitars for them, once the future of the company started to look a bit shaky, Jim and Jeff actually bought the guitar line outright.
Yeah.
And they are now producing it under the Keisel range.
Yeah, that's the name, yeah.
So the legacy of Carvin guitars is still secure because Jim and Jeff are doing an absolutely fantastic job of keeping it going. Yeah. The audio range wasn't really that well known for amplifiers, like you say. A lot of it was PA systems and things like that. And when it was announced that Carvin Audio was closing its doors or closing its books, that I saw a massive outcry on a lot of forums that were saying, well, you know, we've used Carvin all our lives. Who the hell do we turn to now? Because nothing compares.
Yeah.
So I think in that case, it is a massive shame for Carvin.
That's
happening. That they're not a company that ever sort of outsized themselves or anything like that. They put good customer care into place. Yeah, I mean, they had excellent customer care. They did what the customers wanted. It's just, for some reason, they're just not able to keep going.
I think
for companies like that, it is a shame.
Aside from the tie-in with Steve Vai, I think Carvin in general kind of got left behind with the 80s and early 90s.
I think the problem was they couldn't compete in price with companies like Steinberger and what have you, because I mean you consider you've got the Steinberger Spirit desks, same sort of quality as Carvin for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
Even Behringer are doing a good line in desks that cost about a quarter of what a Carvin desk does.
Yeah.
So I think it is just a case of, because of the size of the company, they just couldn't produce the stuff of the quality that they did to match the price of other companies.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a couple of months back there was an article saying the death of the electric guitar and stuff like this. I mean, such giants as Gibson being forecast trouble and companies going completely off the radar like Carvin. It's it is kind of feeding into that fear. But
I don't think it's going to be a complete death knell for the guitar though.
No, I mean
the electric guitar.
We're going to have to see what happens. It's been a real downer this news week. So we're going to move on to some questions because hopefully they'll be able to pick our spirits up a little bit, and kind of tying in with what you were saying there. We're going to go on to our first question. So our good friend Joey has asked for a little bit of help. He wants to do a little bit of home recording in aid of kind of upping his practice, I think. And he wanted to know which interfaces would be a good place to start. So have we got any suggestions for him? Obviously not Carvin.
Yeah.
I never used one.
Literally in the last month, bought Focusrite iTrack Studio.
Cool.
And it's, I think, 99 quid, I think, and it's fantastic. two inputs, one for an instrument and one for an XLR in for a microphone.
Yeah.
So you could either mic up an amp or plug his guitar directly in
Yeah, you
and
go
use
direct
something like GarageBand. And then you can plug it into iPad or iPhone, or if you get a different adapter, you can even plug it into a computer. I think it's a great piece of kit. It's certainly once I can sort out. I've got a problem at the moment where I've got a knackered 3-metal jack to 1/4-inch jack thing, so I can't actually monitor it through anything other than an amp at the moment. So it's kind of a little pointless. But as soon as I get that sorted, I'll definitely be using it a lot more.
Yeah, I mean the Focusrite stuff in general. If you want to go for a dedicated PC or Mac kind of interface, I think it's the Scarlett. They do a similar thing with two, basically like a stereo inputs, which can be used for both instrument and for XLR, I believe. I mean, when the question came up, I initially thought Focusrite. I mean, I don't actually.
I think Focusrite get the best reviews as well, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Considering the price point where they're sort of like 80-90 quid, they get the best reviews as well.
Yeah.
I tell you, I had a Native Instruments one a few years back, and the amount of arsenic I got with drivers for that thing for Windows and Mac and all this kind of stuff was about pain in the backside. I got a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 earlier this year.
Yeah.
Plug in and you're away. And it's just so simple. Like I say, 2 inputs. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. And again, it was about 100 quid off Amazon, so it's kind of a no-brainer, really. Yeah. If you've got 100 quid.
I mean, I've only ever heard good things from the Focusrite stuff. I don't use one myself at the moment. This podcast is going through an Alesis IO2 Express, which it's.
Do Alesis still make them things?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're not expensive.
They were a massive name in the 90s. You don't really seem to hear of them much now.
No. It's generally just kind of these weird little interfaces. But this one, generally speaking, works pretty well. It weren't too much of a pain in terms of getting it set up with my PC. But the drivers the preamps in them are nowhere near as good as what you get with the Focusrite stuff. I'm going to give an honourable mention to some of the Behringer stuff as well. I believe it's the Xenix series of mixers, USB mixers, that use Midas preamps, which are supposed to be absolutely brilliant quality as well. But I can't verify that. I've not tried them. But again, I hear good reviews.
Yeah, a lot of our guys, probably about a year ago now, were all raving about the iRig stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a little iRig, an iRig Pre, which is basically one XLR, which you can use on a mobile phone, and I've used that to great success. But it literally only works with mobile devices.
I think you can get them for PC as well.
Yeah. So something like that might.
Again, they're about 80-90 quid as well, so it's not, when you compare it to other stuff, it's not exactly bank busting.
Yeah, it's not terribly expensive, and that's the kind of price range you're looking at for something like that as well, isn't it?
I mean, I'll be completely honest, I don't actually use an interface. I just plug straight into my mobile phone.
Yeah.
Because Samsung used to have their own door system called SoundCamp.
Yeah.
It looks like they've stopped doing it because I tried to get it again for one of my other phones, and it looks like they've stopped doing it. But it's actually, because I've still got it.
Yeah. Oh, you can still use it.
It still gets updates and whatnot, and it is actually really good for what it is. I mean, if I plug directly from the headphone out from my amp,
yeah,
I can use my guitar. I can actually use a microphone through my amp, and it does a really good job. It's a shame that they don't still do it anymore. And I've been looking for another door system similar, because if I do end up having to get a new phone, I can't then use SoundCloud. So I'm looking for something that works the same way.
Yeah. I
Not SoundCloud, SoundCamp.
SoundCamp. Oh, it's a terrible name, isn't it? SoundCamp.
Yeah, I think they're trying to take on the Bandcamp name.
Yeah. Kind of. It's swinging a miss there with that one.
Yeah.
I managed to jerry rig because I had a Line 6 Amplify footboard, and I managed to jerry rig that directly into my mobile phone for recording, and that worked absolutely astoundingly. Unfortunately, I've lost it, so I can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
But that's great for it was basically, I bought it as a footboard, just as something cheap and easy, as almost like a headphone amp for me. But I found out that it worked as a USB interface and managed to jerry rig it through GarageBand, and it worked amazingly. So I mean, if it's only for simple practice, that might be an option as well, and you get a free effects pedal essentially, which is fantastic.
I mean, if he's only using it for practice, it might be just as well looking at some of these multi-effects units that have an auxiliary in on them.
Yeah.
An MP3 player into it.
And like I say, some of them these days have got USB out, so you can use it as an interface.
Yeah.
I think we've given them a bit of food for thought there. We're going to go for one more, and then I think that'll be us for tonight. As much as I want to have a moan about my temperature controls environments for my guitar, I think we're going to leave that. Our good friend Sai, who has been mentioned a couple of times this podcast, he put up a little rant this week about how do you quantify the amount of money that you are willing to spend on a guitar pedal. So, Matt, you buy quite a few pedals.
Yep.
Do you want to kind of let us into your thought process?
Yeah. My thought process is basically, I try and play one if I can get hold of one. Living over here, that means trying to find somebody who already owns one, because our local shop, as I've said many times, stocks.
Yeah, stocks Moore.
Yeah. So, sorry. Basically, if I can try them, then all the better. But if not, it's listen to any online reviews from people that I trust if they've got them, and if not, it's just a case of buy and hope for the best. I will basically buy the not maybe most expensive, but certainly the pedal that's got the most acumen, the pedal that I've heard the most good things about from mainly the guys on Fret Talk or the guys within our so like my drive for a long time was a soul food, but I really wanted a hot cake. When I came into enough money to buy a hot cake, I bought one. The other things like I had a Tone City Golden Plexi that I got rid of. I was happy enough with the sound when you're playing through it, but it's very loud when you're not playing. It just doesn't like being in a live situation. You couldn't sort of like stop playing and have a quiet bit in a song, get a loud hiss in the background. So I replaced it with not the Angry Charlie, what's the Marvel Drive, expensive one, but I've just heard so many good things about it, and I've got a mate I've got the V3, he's got a V2, but yeah, I basically go for the best that I can possibly find. I'm not somebody who's too worried about cost unless I'm struggling that month, in which case I just won't buy a pedal.
Yeah.
If it costs 200 quid, it costs 200 quid. If it costs 40 quid, then even better. but I'm not somebody who's going to not buy a pedal because it's ridiculously priced.
Yeah. So there's not necessarily a cap on your spending. It's more what you think will do the job for you the best.
Yeah. There's certainly no cap on my spend. Like I've got an Analog Man chorus on my board that I bought second hand, and that still cost me 180 quid second hand because they're
Yeah.
they're 250 quid plus import tax and shipping from the States. So when they come in, whoever imported it must have spent over 300 quid on it.
Damn. And Paul 1, how about yourself?
I was just thinking about this actually, because over the course of the time I played guitar, I went and spent pretty much a sizable chunk of the money I had at the time on a Boss GT10, which isn't particularly great anyway. But I thought, I want some effects. I'm going to get all of them at once. That sounds fine.
Yeah.
I did not delve into anywhere near the depths of that thing at any point. Didn't tweak it or put it in a chain or set anything up. I used a drive and a bit of a delay and the loop, and then I got rid of it about 8 years later for about a third of the price I paid for it.
Yeah.
So since then, my approach is kind of a bit risk averse. I know the things I want, and if I can't get it on Gumtree within a 5 mile radius of my house, I don't get it. But it's all stuff that if I buy it for 50 quid, I'm going to sell it for 50 quid. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I've got pretty standard pedals. Like I've got some Boss, a couple of NXR, TC Electronic. I've not got anything.
Oh shit!
But if I don't have something that I want to try, like I didn't have a tremolo, I went on Amazon. I got a Joyo tremolo for 25 quid.
Oh, is that the one with the picture of the pit bull on the front?
Yeah, the Pitbull, which is fine. I mean, I don't play the band or anything. I just like to knock all these things on at some point and make a bit of a racket and switch them off.
Yeah, no, I've been told good things about the Joyo tremolo.
It's not too. It's £25. You know what I mean? I've spent more on the lunch, but it's. I think that's my approach. Is I don't use these things in a professional or semi-professional environment. I want to make a bit of noise. No doubt that for everything I have, there's a better version out there, but I don't really need it. So I just go for what's trusted and what is affordable, and that's kind of what my floor is full of. Really.
Yeah. I think my stance on this has been it's never been a secret from my my Instagram channel, but I mean I've spoke quite freely on here as well, that I'm adverse to spending over £100 more for a single guitar effect, because I know what components cost. I know roughly what goes into making them, and I can't justify it in my head spending multiple £100 on something which costs a fraction of that to build. I know that there are other factors
I
into
thought
it.
The same thing. I was looking at what was here, and I thought I've heard good things about the Flint, Strymon Flint.
Yeah.
It was like I've heard good things about that. I could bump off 2 or 3 of these pedals and replace it with one of those.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I was like, well, that's £300, and I'm not going to get anywhere near that to get rid of these, and they're fine. And I probably would like a luscious, boutique-y, Strymon pedal on the floor to play with. But would I get as much as I need out, or would I get the best out of it? I imagine no, because I don't have the attention span. So I'll stick with doing that.
Yeah, you get that option paralysis with the Strymon stuff, don't you? I think I did a little experiment myself where I managed to pick up a couple of kind of boutique-y brand pedals for relatively cheap, just to see what the fuss was about. And those couple of pedals that I bought are kind of lying under my bed gathering dust at the moment. I'd much rather play with the TC Mojo is, I think the cheapest I've got one for is something like 25 quid on the used market, and they're not much more brand new, if I'm honest. And they're an absolutely fantastic pedal. They do what I want in a drive, which is why I own 3 of them. Yeah, if something's worth buying, it's worth buying 3 times. So yeah, I mean, I tend to use my ears, but I'm biased as well. I really don't want to spend over £100 on a pedal. What I would, I'd give a kind of caveat to that, which is I would be tempted to spend that little bit more if I was buying it from someone who's hand building it, kind of a smaller production. Someone like don't know if you've ever heard of it, Made by Mike Pedals, who's a guy who used to do YouTube videos, and has got his own little pedal company, or just any of these like Tate Effects or Adverse Effects, who I've got a couple of pedals from, and it would be less begrudging to spend the money on something like that, knowing that it's going to kind of one guy who's pouring his heart and soul, or her heart and soul, into making it. So that's kind of my stance on it. Other Paul?
I'm very much with you. I actually, I can't remember who makes it, but there's a pedal out there called the Timmy.
Yes, yeah.
And there was an A/B test between that and a clone called the Oliver.
Oh, wonderful.
Now, the Timmy had a slightly darker mid-range to it, but aside from that, there was literally no difference to the sound of them.
Yeah.
And yet the Oliver was about a third of the price.
Dan
so
Electro,
knowing that,
Dan Electro had a pedal called the Transparent Overdrive, and allegedly they had to stop production of that and release a kind of revised circuit because it was so close in comparison to the Timmy. And they were something like 30.
I'm the sort of person that I look at I'm the sort of person that I look at a pedal and I'll look at the expensive stuff and I'll go, right, okay, so this is what I can get for however much. Angry Charlie, say. What were they, 180 quid when they were new?
Yeah.
So I'd look at something like the Angry Charlie and I'd go, right, okay, so an Angry Charlie sounds pretty much like I want it to, but it's 180 quid. There's something out there that is about 50, 60 quid and does exactly the same job.
Yeah.
Where is it? I love the sound of the Angry Charlie, but then I came across the Pinnacle Deluxe V2. And it's basically 2 Angry Charlies in one box.
That's a really Angry Charlie.
One is the actual. Yeah, well, it's one is the main drive, and then the other's the boost.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that's £99. Why would I pay 180 quid for an Angry Charlie when the Pinnacle V2 sounds exactly the same and has a boost?
This a
so
one.
I'm with you.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yes, like you say, if somebody's hand making them, maybe give it a little bit more. But I'm certainly not going to be paying 300-400 quid for a pedal.
Oh yes, definitely not.
When I can get a multi-effect system that can near enough replicate a lot of these pedals for about 200 quid.
Yeah, I mean, if you put like, say, 2 or 3 of the prices of those pedals, you'd be looking something like the Line 6 Helix footboard.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And that's literally all pedals ever and amps.
Yeah.
So.
And amps, yeah. That's what I mean. The amount that you can squeeze into a Line 6 Helix you're going to get about a quarter of that in terms of actual pedals, physical pedals.
Yeah, and
for the same quality and same price.
Yeah, there's a lot of people as well whose ears I trust wholeheartedly, who've bought up Helixes. So, I mean, though I haven't tried one myself, I'm very much of the opinion that I'm not buying £300 worth of one drive pedal.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to leave it tonight. It's been an emotional journey, lads.
It always is.
Yeah. So if you want to catch me on Instagram, you've got Budget Pedal Chap / Budget Pedal Chap. Don't know why I said that like a robot then. If you want to go Facebook, it's / Budget Pedal Chap. Don't forget as well, you can have your say in our Fret Talk podcast group, which the link is always in our description of the podcast. But essentially, Facebook groups, type in Fret Talk podcasts. One of us guys will accept you onto there, and you can literally have your say with any of us on there. Have a little chat with us, get your questions read out on the podcast, and feed us some news articles as well, because I don't want to be talking about Gibson every week.
It's going to happen. You know it is.
So how can we get you outside of the podcast then, Matt?
So if you just want to get in touch with me, the Fret Talk podcast group is the best place. If you want to see clips of my band or anything along those lines, it's facebook.com/switchiom.
Wicked. Paul 1?
I talk the biggest load of nonsense on Twitter under Vitamin P with 2 N's, and also guitar-related things in Fret Talk.
Wicked. And Paul 2?
Yep, same here. Fret Talk podcast. If you want to see clips of my band, with or without me, Facebook / Don't Panic Blackpool. Let's do account, because I very rarely even go on it, to be honest, so it's probably useless.
Yeah. So that's going to be us for this week. So see you all next week, hopefully. Catch you all soon. Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.